I'm a messed up alpha who's only attracted to other alphas. To be precise, I only have feelings for my younger brother Ethan Howard. Like a thief, I sneaked into his room, dug out his shirt, and greedily inhaled the lingering scent of his pheromones. Then I climbed onto his bed, pretending to fall asleep in his embrace. I had a wonderful night, but when I woke up, I found Eth had already returned, pinning me beneath him, his canine teeth grazing the back of my neck. Matt wants my pheromones? You should have just said so earlier. Eth hadn't been home for 7 days. So long that even the butler mentioned to me, young Master Ethan's birthday is approaching. What should we do this year? Actually, there were still 28 days until his 22nd birthday. I took a bitter sip of whiskey, the taste irritating me. Same as usual. At most, we'd invite his rowdy friends. That's exactly who Eth was. Since childhood, he'd been irresponsible, leveraging his status as a top-tier alpha to cause endless trouble. The line of people coming to our doorstep demanding justice could stretch beyond the gated community. 7 days ago was no different. Some fragile Omega actually showed up at the corporation, tearfully accusing Eth of coercion. Furious, I pointed at his face and yelled, "Stop bullying people with your dirty money and worthless pheromones. I've got mountains of work at the company. You're an adult now. Quit acting like a child I have to clean up after." How did Eth respond? He raised an eyebrow and retorted, "Worthless pheromones? You sure about that?" That single sentence deflated my anger. Eth's pheromones were aggressively sharp tequila, and his temper was like a powder keg ready to explode. People say the Howard family is blessed having 2 top-tier alpha sons destined to elevate the corporation. He is one. I'm not. What kind of alpha smells like lemons? So Eth always uses this to one-up me. Alphas are naturally incompatible. Thankfully, my status as the older brother lets me barely maintain equal footing. Our argument ended badly when he threw out, "If you want me back, you'll have to beg me yourself." 7 days passed without a single meeting. Yet every morning, my assistant punctually reported Eth's whereabouts. I knew he'd been street racing again, recklessly breaking records on mountain passes. They all called him Eth. I kept mulling over this nickname, clearly forgetting there's an actual older brother. Heartless bastard. Yet my fingers compulsively traced over photos of Eth's wild posture and defiant face radiating arrogance, overlapping with the figure from my nightly dreams. I closed my eyes and sighed. Perhaps influenced by the butler's words, I suddenly found myself standing in Eth's room. He never allows anyone in here, so the space was far from tidy. Clothes were strewn across the bed, including intimate where visible at first glance. I froze, face flushing as I looked away. Reason told me to leave immediately, but my feet felt anchored. The faint trace of tequila pheromones drifted around me, effortlessly drawing out my lemon scent. Only when my citrus aroma completely overpowered his did I realize what was happening. Yes, I'm a sick alpha. Omegas don't interest me in the slightest, only alphas. To be precise, only Eth. When he was 16 and skipped school, I made him kneel as punishment. He rebelled by releasing pheromones against me. Back then he wasn't fully developed, so I could still hold my ground. The strange sensation came swiftly. It wasn't the competitive drive between alphas, but an urge to get closer, to approach him, sink my teeth into him, mark him with my scent. Startled by this realization, I hastily reprimanded him before making excuses to leave. Research later revealed defective alphas could develop attraction toward their own kind. Omegas and betas left me cold. My disastrous attempt with another alpha nearly caused a brawl. The hired alpha kept apologizing. "My apologies, Mr. Matt." Lost control for a moment. His puzzled expression likely questioned why a fellow alpha would pay for pheromone competitions. Slumped on the sofa, I stared blankly at the floor. I was doomed. I desired my own brother. From that day, I maintained distance. Initially manageable without physical contact. Mature alphas should control their pheromones. Right? Wrong. Eth's shower ritual flooded the bathroom with thick, humid pheromones that seeped through walls. Snarling, I pounded his bathroom door. "Stop wasting pheromones. We have guests." Eth emerged soapy-haired, blinking innocently. "But they're betas, Matt." Then patronizingly added, Work stress? I'll behave. The little shit actually restrained his scent. I inhaled greedily before retreating to my own shower. Later he complained, "Matt, didn't I tone it down? Why are you blasting pheromones like that?" Nearly made me lose control, mistaking this for rivalry. Those guileless eyes made me want to devour him whole. Now, 7 days since his departure, only faint traces remained. Fury surged through me. Abandoning my exit plan, I marched to his walk-in closet, snatched a white shirt like some pathetic thief, then defiantly collapsed onto his bed. Same linens, yet his pillow cradled better. Warmer comforter, richer scent. Clutching his shirt, I buried my nose in the collar. Eth's territorial pheromone markings became my lifeline. Even faint remnants sufficed. Dreams resurrected 16-year-old Eth sobbing outside my locked door. "Matt, don't ignore me. I'll never skip school again. They said you'd abandon me after marriage. I messed up your date on purpose." His out-of-control pheromones during that meltdown first awakened this cursed desire. Dawn light stung my eyes. The stolen shirt still clutched to my face. For once, I slept soundly, but forgot to close the curtains. Last night's drinking and reckless decisions left me vulnerable, curtains wide open. My head still throbbed when a crushing weight suddenly pinned me to the mattress. Before I could react, sharp teeth sank into my nape. Our pheromones clashed violently in the air. I shoved Eth off with all my strength, hastily buttoning my collar. "What the hell?" My voice came out raspy, breath hitching dangerously. Eth stumbled back, turning away as if burned. "Mistake. Didn't mean to hurt you, Matt." His apology hung between us, laced with the acrid tang of alpha rivalry. Even brothers turned feral when instincts took over. I touched my bleeding neck. Thank God he missed the gland. One wrong bite and we'd both be dead by dawn, either from mating frenzy or my own pistol. "Face me," I snapped, irritation flaring at his hunched shoulders. He obeyed instantly, scent already reined in. That familiar stubborn tilt of his chin resurfaced as he demanded, "You wanted my pheromones?" Could have just asked instead of scheming with Luke. I nearly choked. My childhood friend's underground experiments using alpha pheromones weren't common knowledge. "Show respect. It's Luke to you." "Luke?" Eth's laugh held knives. "Your precious Omega sweetheart? Planning to make him my sister-in-law?" The old wound ached. Parentless years spent raising him. Countless rejected Omegas to ease his abandonment fears. Yet here we stood, 20 years later, still dancing this toxic waltz. Enough nonsense. Weren't you going to make me beg before returning? The lightness in my own voice surprised me. His presence anchored me, more real than all those creased photographs I'd traced nightly. Eth's gaze dropped to my collar. "You're wearing my shirt." Heat crawled up my neck. Let him think what he wanted, the truth would die with me. Those nights drowning in his scent. The way my assistant's eyebrows shot up when I finally stopped scowling. None of it mattered now that his heartbeat echoed mine in this room. The memory of last night's gala soured my tongue. Endless whiskey with investors. Then that parade of trembling Omegas with cat ears and lowered lashes. I'd nearly walked out until seeing him. That same doe-eyed innocence Eth had before life hardened him. Club lights still pulsed behind my eyelids when Eth stepped closer, our reflections merging in the dark window. 20 years of carefully built walls crumbled as his breath ghosted over my healing bite. Still pretending, brother? The first kiss tasted like whiskey and gunpowder. The second drew blood. By the third, our shattered pieces fit together all wrong, jagged edges and burning shame, and 2 decades too late. When dawn came, the curtains stayed open. His features were softer, naturally lacking Eth's reckless defiance as an Omega, now huddled in the corner awaiting selection with nervous inexperience. When a drunken patron moved to grab his waist, I pulled him toward me. "I'll take him." The thwarted man chuckled and picked another. "Fine choice, Matt. This one's practically ripe on the vine." I led him to my private suite, my head throbbing from excess whiskey. The moment I collapsed onto the bed, the Omega approached timidly. "Mr. Howard, how would you like me?" His eyes held the dreadful cocktail of fear and desperate eagerness I'd come to loathe. Irritation spiked through my haze. Same delicate bone structure. Same vulnerable scent glands. Yet this trembling creature might as well have been carved from wax compared to Why grovel? I snapped. If I bit you right now, you'd thank me for it. He flinched but held his submissive pose. The movement exposed his collarbone in that infuriatingly familiar way. My fist clenched the sheets. Goddamn genetics. This walking hormone cocktail was biologically engineered to complement alphas like me. So why did his cowering make me want to hurl him through the window? Sleep in the guest room. Don't, I bit off the rest. No point snarling at some paid companion. You'll face no consequences. Tell your handler whatever you need. Instead of relief, terror flooded his scent. Be but young Master Eth said. If you don't claim me tonight, I shot through my veins. Which young master? Why your brother, Matt, Ethan Howard. The whiskey turned to acid in my stomach. My idiot sibling had planted this look-alike here? Since when did Eth bother with? The Omega whimpered as my control snapped. Slick alpha hormones flooded the room. Cinnamon spice rage overpowering his milky sweetness. He collapsed shaking at my feet, baring his neck in instinctual surrender. Every cell screamed contradictory impulses, to either sink teeth into that offered throat or storm across the city to throttle my brother. Instead, I hauled him upright and shoved his coat into his arms. Get out. Ethan's threats mean nothing. He stared at the door like it might electrocute him. I wrenched it open myself and froze. There he stood, my personal ghost. Same damn eyes, same infuriating smirk. But where the Omega reeked of fear, Ethan radiated the electric arrogance that had started our first playground fistfight. Evening, Matt. His gaze slid to the trembling Omega. Trouble with your dessert? The one who suited my taste the most was Eth Howard. Eth stepped aside, politely gesturing to the Omega. Go ahead. The Omega stumbled out nervously. For some reason, I felt relieved despite Eth being the one who sent this person here. I don't make habits of casually marking people. I rasped out, my throat tight. Definitely not because of any other reason. You're being reckless. Eth laughed humorlessly. Me? Are you sure it's me? Of course it's you. Who else would it be? Eth suddenly frowned. Why is your pheromone so strong? Losing control? Only then did I notice the entire room reeked of bitter lemon. Sharp and suffocating, mirroring my tangled feelings toward Eth. Yet here he stood. My rationality evaporated. Maybe, just maybe, we could. An alpha being drawn to another alpha was a sickness. I'd been terminally infected long ago, beyond any cure. All I wanted was to crush him against me until my scent clung to every inch of his skin. I acted on impulse, trapping Eth in my arms. His heartbeat thrummed against my chest where our skin touched. You've truly lost your mind, Eth murmured, barely audible. A sudden sting pierced my arm, needle sliding into muscle. My consciousness shattered into darkness, my last sensation being caught in warm arms. I awoke under the sterile lights of Luke Thompson's lab. The fluorescent glare stabbed my eyes. Luke, when will you replace these damn lights? Told you I'll cover the costs. My voice came out hoarse, chest heavy. Luke mixed reagents without looking up. Sure. Wouldn't dream of saving you money, not after all the times I've saved your ass. True enough. Luke alone knew about my condition regarding Eth. Whenever Eth triggered my pheromone surges, Luke's suppressants kept me functional. The researcher often teased. Seems even alphas have vulnerabilities. But why was I here? I only remembered escorting that Omega to rest, then growing agitated, having amnesia. Matt? Luke shook a vial, grinning at my confusion. Can't be my serum's side effect. Serum? I rolled up my sleeve, finding the injection mark. What happened? You went full hormonal meltdown last night. Hallucinated, kept calling me Eth. Gave you emergency suppressants before anyone noticed. My fees doubled. My sluggish mind processed this. Disappointment curled in my gut, so it wasn't Eth who held me. Rationality resurfaced with bitter clarity. Good. Better this way. Luke watched me from the side, clearly exasperated. Do you really like him that much? For God's sake, if you're so crazy about him, why can't you just say it? You've been torturing yourself for years. This isn't healthy. His voice softened with reluctant sympathy. In the early days when medications weren't as effective, I'd often sit staring at Eth's photos for hours after regaining consciousness from episodes. Luke had witnessed it all. But I shook my head. I can't. I'm his brother. I won't drag him into this mess. Our parents died when I was 12 and Eth 6. I raised him into the fearless Eth the world knows. That cocky, unstoppable force of nature who should never have his wings clipped. If I ever lose control completely, I said, help Eth maintain control of Howard Industries. Luke threw his hands up. Get out of my lab before I disinfect you myself. As I reached the door, his voice stopped me. Matt, ever consider Eth might feel the same? I didn't answer. The idea was absurd. Eth only had eyes for sweet, delicate omegas. I'd cleaned up enough of his scent-marking incidents to know. But voicing this impossibility aloud? That would have broken me. Eth sat ramrod straight on the living room sofa when I returned home. Not the fake Eth from last night, this was the real deal. I recognized the telltale signs from childhood mischief, overly proper posture with those restless eyes scheming trouble. He'd really outdone himself this time. My stormy expression made him scramble up. Matt, you okay? I strode past without answering, his anxious footsteps trailing up the stairs. A torrent of apologies poured out until I cut him off at my bedroom door. Enough. Go write your reflection essay in the study. Eth blocked the door's closure, mask of contrition slipping into genuine distress. I messed up. How? If he wouldn't write it, he'd confess properly. I shouldn't have gone street racing, or abused alpha pheromones in fights, or caused so much trouble for you. Or, he kept dredging up past offenses, conspicuously avoiding last night's disaster. Done with the charade, I pushed his hand off the doorframe. And I shouldn't have sent you that omega, he blurted. Rage and dread resurged, but the look of terrified resolve on his face disarmed me. Never pull that stunt again, I said more gently. Getting bonded won't make me abandon you. His face fell. Besides, I added quickly, I'm not looking for a bond anytime soon. Relax. The truth was simpler. This idiot thought planting a lookalike omega would secure his place in my life. Typical Eth logic. As his brother, I could forgive this. The resemblance? Just another attention-grabbing scheme. Honestly, I almost admired the twisted creativity. Matt's expression remained tense, his mood visibly darkening. Matt, you really have no intention? With that answer, Eth turned away sharply, his jaw clenched. I tossed in bed that night, brainstorming ways to cheer him up with his favorite things. The more I schemed, the wider awake I became. Even the sedative tea from the butler did nothing. My fractured dreams swirled with surreal imagery. Though I never drink, I kept reliving that wild nightclub stunt. Sprinkling salt on someone's collarbone, licking it off before chasing tequila with a stolen lemon wedge from their lips. The explosive tang of citrus and liquor mixed until I moaned aloud. Then the faceless stranger morphed into Eth's smirking visage, jolting me awake at dawn drenched in sweat. My feverish body confirmed it. This wasn't stress-induced pseudosickness. When Luke examined me, his scowl deepened. Even alphas need rest. Matt, you've been suppressing your biology with inhibitors for years. Crash now, or your system will crash you. He wasn't wrong. But abandoning the company? Unthinkable. Eth materialized at my bedside like summoned storm clouds. Let me handle corporate. Rest. My initial scoff died as his tequila-scented dominance flooded the room. When had my baby brother become this hulking protector? Fine, I rasped. But call the board if. Won't need to. To everyone's shock, Eth thrived. Even my secretary admitted grudgingly, young mister, Howard's leadership mirrors yours. Freed from worry, I channeled energy into planning Eth's birthday. 12 elaborate concepts sprawled across his desk. Pick one. Or suggest something else. Your call. He swept the folders aside without looking up from his screen. Pass. Absolutely not. I blocked his monitor. You're overworking. Take a damn break. Guilt gnawed at me. My illness shouldn't chain him to this grind. Eth leaned back, arms crossed. Got it covered. That cocky half-smile triggered dual reactions. Pride in his growth warring with unease. When I praised his boardroom poise, everyone's impressed. His smirk widened. Learned from the best. Since when? I laughed. Though memories surfaced. 18-year-old Eth trailing me through headquarters, absorbing every strategy like scripture. But he was a restless soul at an age craving excitement, constantly sneaking out to have fun. I gave up trying to change him, resigning myself to this fate of constant worry. Soon enough, I realized, as his older brother Matt, sheltering him from life storms was my duty. Eth deserved to be the freest soul in this world. Now Eth stared at me unblinkingly, insisting stubbornly, "Matt taught me." All right, I taught you. We shared the same blood, the same stubborn core. Growing up watching me, I supposed it counted as my influence. I smiled lazily. "Since you've got plans, do it your way." The night before Eth's birthday, he came home unusually early. I'd been wondering about his celebration plans. No rumors, no preparations. Were we just gathering spontaneously tomorrow? Eth went straight to his room, emerging an hour later impeccably dressed. The plunging neckline revealed too much pale collarbone. After staring a beat too long, I averted my eyes. Oops. Eth feigned surprise before retrieving a silver chain from his room. He fastened it around his neck with theatrical flair. Almost forgot my lucky charm. "Ready, Matt? Let's go." The winding mountain road grew increasingly familiar as we drove. My street racing days came rushing back. The adrenaline, the midnight speed records under fake aliases. Eth parked at the trailhead and tapped my window. Cold night air bit my cheeks as we faced each other silently. Tension crackled between us, the kind that made my scent threaten to spill. I broke first, reaching for the door handle. "We should head back." Eth trapped my hand against the glass. "Race me." His intensity startled me. "Don't be ridiculous. I never approved of your racing." My chuckle sounded hollow even to myself. One race. That stubborn set of his jaw I knew too well. I could never refuse him. "Fine. But don't underestimate me. I was the track king in my day." The engine roared to life, awakening long dormant thrills. We flew through hairpin turns, scenery blurring into streaks of light. For glorious moments, I was 20 again, reckless and invincible. Then reality crashed back. Eth had broken every speed record here last week. My brief hesitation sealed the loss. Eth's triumphant grin glowed in the dashboard lights. "You're slipping, old man. Brat." I shoved his shoulder, ignoring how his laughter made warmth bloom in my chest. He'd grown into that reckless joy I'd once nurtured, and God help me, I loved watching him burn bright. I chimed in, "All right, Matt, you lost. What's the prize?" "You'll find out soon," Eth replied confidently, starting the engine. The car shot forward like an arrow. I wondered whether I should agree if he made some outrageous demand later. Tonight's Eth had me feeling unsettled. I stole a glance. His jaw was clenched tight, every muscle straining with determination. What treasure could he want so badly? To my surprise, Eth didn't follow the race route but drove to a hilltop villa. The engine roar pierced the night before dying abruptly at the gates. Eth opened my passenger door with exaggerated chivalry. "After you, Matt. What's the game here? Did you buy this place?" I frowned, mentally preparing apology speeches to neighbors if this wasn't his property. "Since when did he own this?" Eth nodded. "You wanted to check the birthday venue setup. Help me finalize things?" "Fair enough." As we approached the entrance, he suddenly grabbed my wrist, eyes blazing. "So I won, right?" "Sure. You beat me fair and square." "Good." His gaze lingered strangely. The air thickened with his pheromones. Since when did winning races make him this excitable? Luke should really look into his hormone regulation. Then I froze. The walls were plastered with photos, all of me, working, napping on couches, mid-conversation, suit and tie shots alongside ones where I wore ratty t-shirts with bedhead, laughing, scowling, deep in thought. Eth's hand settled on my shoulder. "Well, do you like it? Take these down." My voice shook. Where had he even gotten these? Ignoring me, he pulled me closer, breath hot against my ear. "But I think they're perfect." His finger traced a photo of me celebrating a business deal. The smile. I replayed it for weeks. Another showed me furious at some blunder. "I wanted to fire everyone who upset you." He paused at a photo of me glassy eyed post-injection. Thank God Luke captured this. Who knew my big brother could look so adorably out of it? "Enough," I snapped as his palm slid to my waist. burning through fabric. What's this really about? Beth chuckled, fingers tightening. Matt, why are you trembling? You know perfectly well. What do I want? I want you. Ethan suddenly bent down, biting viciously into the nape of my neck. Page, you're insane. I shoved against Ethan's chest, only to meet unyielding restraint. My pheromones erupted uncontrollably, flooding the air with bitter lemon. When I tried to counter with my own scent, his overpowered mine completely. Wild, untamed aggression drenched in smoky tequila. His tongue traced the abused skin before shifting lower to my scent gland. I didn't need a mirror to know the area glowed crimson. Ethan nuzzled the swollen flesh, voice gravel rough. Matt, I need to bite. I jerked away, chest heaving. No, this was madness. You're an alpha. You can't. Aren't you an alpha too, Matt? His grip tightened on my jaw, forcing our gazes to lock. I love you, brother. His breath scorched my lips. Still no. The fire in Ethan's eyes dimmed. After several heartbeats, he pulled me into an embrace, his pheromones softening to something achingly tender. I let him hold me, time dissolving until his whisper broke the silence. But Matt, it hurts. And I won our bet. When he released me, raw anguish swam in his eyes. Tears pooled, magnifying that wounded puppy look. As fellow alphas, I recognized the agony of denied craving. My resolve crumbled. Sighing, I unbuttoned my collar and turned. Do it, my baby brother. I'd pluck stars from the sky for him. Ethan struck without mercy. White-hot agony seared through me. 1,000 fire ants devouring my nerves. Suppressed desires from years of inhibitors roared back. Tsunami force, shredding every shred of self-control. Matt, let me claim you. I laughed bitterly. Won't work. Alpha claiming alpha? Fairy tales. Why wasn't I born Omega? Ethan growled. We'll see. He flooded me with his essence until the mansion drowned in tequila and lemon. Midnight found me limp in his arms, every muscle liquefied. Happy birthday. Ethan brushed his lips over my forehead, soothing pheromones wrapping around me. Sweet dreams, Matt. One night, enough to fuel lifetimes of sweetest dreams. Ethan's POV, I'm diseased. I crave my own brother. The moment I realized this thought, my world shattered. My brother Matt didn't seem like someone I could ever claim. We're both alphas. No matter how recklessly I acted, I could never escape Matt's control. Yet I craved him desperately, my pheromones leaking uncontrollably whenever he was near. I thought I loved lemons, bought a truckload only to taste bitterness. Unlike Matt, whose scent was intoxicatingly sweet. Things spiraled at 18 when Matt took me to Howard Enterprises, making me study beside him daily. But, God, Matt smelled divine. My eyes kept drifting from documents to his tailored suits, his presence magnetic. The longer I stared, the more my glands burned. I fled before losing control, snapping I hated here without looking back. Matt never forced me. He's always indulged me. Yet absence made my heart fester. I tried drowning myself in pretty, eager omegas, but none could erase that lemon-tinged phantom. Midnight street racing brought temporary relief, adrenaline numbing the ache until engines cooled and longing returned tenfold. Then came the cameras. I bugged Matt's home and office, shockingly easy given his blind trust. Only his bedroom stayed untouched, fear of discovery outweighing obsession. Partial access suffices. I lied to myself. The surveillance broke me. There Matt lay in my bed, clutching my shirt, lips moving soundlessly in sleep. His stern features softened, my scent clinging to his bare skin as he wore my clothes. I'd sworn to make him beg before returning, yet now raced home like a madman. He remained. I slipped into bed, lemon and musk enveloping us. Control snapped, teeth grazed Matt's neck. He stirred. I turned away, masking desire with weak excuses when confronted. Matt teased about my unprompted return. You sure you didn't beg? Countered, remembering those surveillance tapes. His need mirrored mine. Luke's clinic reeked of judgment. The doctor stared after hearing my request, finally growling, "What the hell is wrong with you, Howards?" The diagnosis thrilled yet terrified me, mutual biological obsession. Our shared blood sang the same twisted tune. Now I hover between euphoria and despair. Matt wants me. But would an alpha ever yield? Lucas Thompson mercilessly injected a dose of serum. His voice icy. Control your pheromones better. Stop provoking Matt. I frowned. Matt told you to keep this secret. Why are you telling me? Luke's voice grew muffled. Because he's been suffering. The early serum formulas were unstable. Every injection left him in agony. Yet you kept challenging him with your pheromones like some entitled brat, worsening his condition until he needed stronger doses. He showed me an old photo of Matt staring vacantly at a hospital wall. Even Luke's expression turned somber. Don't make Matt's life harder. Complied, avoiding Matt whenever possible. But after learning his secret, my mind kept circling back. Did he truly love me that much? In a moment of madness, I made a terrible mistake. I hired an Omega who resembled me and sent him to Matt's private suite. I knew Matt would take the bait, the resemblance was uncanny. Yet seeing them enter the room together ignited jealous fury. Why should some Omega get to be with him? Matt's mine. I stormed to the suite door only to freeze. What would pounding on the door achieve? Make him kick the Omega out? Then what? I laughed bitterly at myself when the door suddenly swung open. There stood Matt, the tearful Omega behind him. He'd actually thrown the guy out. My brother scowled at my childish antics, but his overflowing lemon scent betrayed him. When he pulled me into an embrace, nuzzling my neck like some lovesick alpha, I turned to stone. The fever must be frying his brain. For one dangerous moment, I considered dragging him inside to claim him properly, marking him over and over until dawn. Better than those endless nights at the mountain villa, using his photos to satisfy my cravings. But I knew he'd hate me afterward. Even if I wanted him, I couldn't take advantage of his delirium. Sighing, I injected him with suppressants and carried him to Luke's clinic. While color me shocked, Luke drawled. The beast actually showed restraint. I didn't want to either, but what choice did I have? Watching Matt lie pale and lifeless on the hospital bed, I nearly confessed everything. I ached to be with him properly as lovers. If I helped manage the Howard family affairs, I asked Luke desperately, would that ease his burdens? Matt had always shielded me from storms. If I could shelter him instead, maybe he'd. The insane plan made Luke shake his head. Yet he still handed me the neuroinhibitors. Don't overdose him. Matt never saw it coming. I infiltrated the company, mimicking his boardroom tactics. He praised my sudden competence, unaware I'd studied his every move through surveillance feeds. After 2 weeks of nonstop work, the shadows under his eyes began fading. On the eve of my birthday, I decided to burn it all down. Pouted, begging Matthew Howard to grant me a wish. Of course I wanted him. Matthew could never stand seeing me upset. The slightest show of weakness from me and he'd let me have my way. Let me twist and turn, take whatever I desired. I bound his wrists with a clavicle chain. Matthew, I want to mark you. Matt's voice came out muffled. It's pointless. An alpha can't be permanently marked by another alpha. I refused to believe it. The air thickened with intertwined scents of tequila and lemon all night long. Even if the fragrance fades someday, I'll simply renew it. Matt wished me happy birthday. I asked if he'd slept well. Like a baby, he answered. I smiled. Matt, I'll make sure you have sweet dreams for the rest of your life.